All right, everybody. So tonight we are talking about a topic that is near and dear to my heart. It's about the kids. We are talking about the kids tonight. So, my name is Marcia Williams. I'm a licensed therapist and a narcissistic abuse recovery coach, and I am here to talk with you tonight. I have devoted my life. The first half of it was to a narcissist for 30 years of marriage. And after divorcing and finding my voice and reclaiming my peace, I decided that there was a reason for all that. And the reason was so that I could be here with you every day. Every day, it's my mission and it's my passion to help other survivors heal from narcissistic abuse. All right, you guys, let's chat tonight. Let me tell you what the topic is at hand. Tonight's topic is, can the children heal? Can my children heal if I stayed with the narcissist? And when I tell you this is personal, this is very personal because this is me. So my voice, I want it to be your voice. And I want you to be able to see through me that your healing is possible, your children's healing is possible, and we're going to break this pattern, this cycle, starting here, starting now. So I was married to a narcissist for 30 years and have been divorced for 4 years. On this journey, I've learned so much about myself, but even more so about my children. I have 3 boys. And for their confidentiality, their names will remain nameless, but they are all in their 20s and one has just reached 30. So, with that being said, I can tell you that I know what it's like to not know how the children have been impacted by narcissistic abuse, as well as to know. And now that I know, it's my mission to give them a voice too, to give them a space, a safe space that they didn't have during the marriage, because we all had to conform. We all had to meet the expectations of their narcissistic father. My YouTube channel is where I also share the interviews that I do. I do interviews with family members and friends because I want them to have a voice too. I know from my own experience that my mother and my sister and my siblings and my friends, anyone who knew me and who knew my marriage, they all have a voice because they experienced something as well. Anyone who knew me and loved me in some way, shape, or form either knew what I was experiencing, and most of the time, well, I would say all of the time, didn't know 100% because that was just not okay. I was conditioned to not speak the truth because we were seen as such a happy couple and, oh my gosh, what's your secret and things like that. And secret, there's plenty of them. All marriages have secrets. I'm not trying to be special. I'm not trying to say that I am different, or that our marriage was so different or so bad. Because marriages are hard work, period, for anyone. And anyone who's married, good, bad, or indifferent, will say the same. So, but I will say that there are things that go on behind closed doors that aren't just private, but they're secret. And there is a difference. There's a difference between what's private and what's secret. Secret carries shame. Secret carries guilt. Secret carries embarrassment. Secret carries fear. So, very different. When someone says, which I was told many times, you don't tell people our business. That was a common phrase. You don't tell people our business. And what that means for us is people don't need to know what's going on personally. And to some extent, I agree with that, right? So that's not uncommon. You don't blab all of your private information to people, but like I said, there's a difference between private and secret. Secret is to protect someone from the truth because the truth is not acceptable. That's secret. I kept secrets. We had to keep secrets in our marriage, in our household. So I had a conversation with my son, my youngest son. And as I mentioned before, I've given all my children a safe space to be able to express how they feel. I do not bash their father. I do not speak ill of him, regardless of how I feel. Which, by the way, I hold on to no regret or pent up anger or resentment. I don't. I actually can now see the lesson and the blessing for me. But what's important to me and what I tell my clients is that it's really important to give our children a voice, to give our children space to feel safe, to express how they feel. And that could not happen until I left my marriage. Of course, there were times that I would go into their room at night to comfort them without their dad knowing, because I was the only one, even, on a surface level, but with emotions that they could talk to. So I'm going to share with you a conversation that I had with my son that was really difficult. But as a mom, it was twofold. It was difficult, but it was also so amazing to see him become the person that he is, which is a strong person who is very confident in who he is and what he's not willing to accept in his relationship with his father. So I never imagined the day where my son would say to his father, I am unlearning everything that I learned from you. But that day came, and it was piercing, it was fierce, it was heartbreaking, but it was necessary. So today we're talking about what happens when the children we tried to protect finally see the truth for themselves and speak out loud. And I will tell you that all three of my children have had one-on-one conversations with me in the form of interviews that they were in total agreement of me posting on my YouTube channel. I haven't done that yet because part of me as a mom still wants to protect them, but the other part of me wants to give them a voice. And so I'm starting here. I'm starting with you today with sharing this conversation that my son gave me complete and full. He said, do whatever you want with it. He said, tell the world. He just has no shame and no fear. And I love it. I love it. So this conversation happened between my son and his narcissistic father. And it was the first time I watched him fully reclaim his voice. He talked about years of emotional neglect, manipulation, and false promises. He said, you don't get to play the victim anymore, to his narcissistic father. So here are some of my son's actual words that had to be cleaned up because he's very expressive. But these are some of the things that he said, that he found the strength, the courage, the voice to say to his father. This was all after the divorce. I sent you money. I offered you a place to stay. I defended your name, and still you made it about you. You laugh to dodge accountability. You want me to feel sorry for you, but I'm grown now. This is what healing can look like when you break the cycle. This is what happens when your kids no longer carry the guilt that we were conditioned with. But let me say this as a mother, it still hurts. It's sad. It's super sad. It's such a mixed emotion that I experienced during my son's retelling of his conversation with his dad. I stayed with him for 30 years, and I thought it was because I was protecting the kids. And actually, it never crossed my mind to leave because of the kids. It never crossed my mind. And I was conditioned to believe, number one, his words, we don't do divorce. We don't do divorce. Those were my ex's exact words all throughout our relationship. Whenever anything went bad, we don't do divorce. We're going to figure this out. We're not going to bed mad. You're not holding a grudge. We're going to move on. So I learned how to do all of that. I learned how to do all of that. And I thought I was doing it to protect my kids. I was always the buffer. I was always the buffer for my kids. I always tried to teach their father how to communicate with them. And he thought, nah, they're boys. They need to hear da 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 da. And you need to let me be a daddy. Stop dimming my light. He saw me as in the way of being the parent, the father that he thought he needed to be. So I tried to be the buffer, the peacekeeper, the distraction. And guess what? The impact still hit the boys. There's no way that I could have prevented the impact to my kids. Because even when you try to shield them from the abuse, they absorb the atmosphere. And let me tell you, the atmosphere that I thought we were creating, we never argued in front of our kids. Never. Wasn't allowed to. So stuff. I learned how to stuff like the best of them. Stuff. We never argued. We always kissed. We always held hands. We always acted lovey-dovey. And I'm not saying it was always fake. At least not for me, it wasn't. And I don't think it was for him, but he also did it. He very purposely wanted he just wanted the boys to see loving parents. So you can imagine when we divorced, they were like, what happened? And then I'm like, well, did I over buffer? Did I overprotect? So when my son said, you don't know me anymore to his father, he said, you don't deserve access to me anymore. Do you hear these boundaries? I held back tears when he was telling me this. You don't deserve access to me anymore. Do you see how the trickle down effect from my breaking free allowed my children to break free? This is what our healing does for the children. This is what our healing does for the kids who we think we're protecting by staying. This is healing, and it could not happen while I was there protecting them. And guess what I say to my clients? That's actually an excuse, because what I was really doing was protecting myself. I was protecting myself from the fear of the unknown, from the fear of what's going to happen. What does life look like? I've never been single before. How am I going to financially manage and take care of myself? How am I going to take care of the kids? All these things were just like, there's no way. There's no way. So it just wasn't an option. And now I can see that that was never mine to carry, but I carried it anyway. So all the mamas out there, I see you. The ones who stayed thinking it's better for the kids and you, I was you. I was you. And now I'm healing right alongside my grown children. We literally are healing together. It's nothing that I ever could have imagined in a million years that we are healing together. And so when they get off the phone with their dad and they're so furious they can barely breathe and they call me and I help to talk them down and say it's okay, just talk, just say what's on your mind. And they get to just let it all out, and I'm just like, I understand. I get it. What do you need to do to take care of yourself? What boundaries do you need to set? Your feelings are valid. This is what we need to be saying to our kids. And I'm not judging you because I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Instead, I was, oh, everything's fine. It's fine. Oh, love, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Just do it. Just do it. Everything's okay. If they thought something was wrong, oh, no, everything's fine. Literally, my oldest son said to me, I could have told you something was wrong when I was 12. And he said, I could have told you he was a narcissist when I was 18. He knew more than I knew. And that was because I chose to be in denial. Denial was very comfortable for me. But my denial also led me to think my kids are okay. I was lying to myself, but I was surviving. So I don't blame myself, and I don't blame you, and I don't want you to blame yourself. So the grown sons and daughters who are or will be able to reclaim their voice, you're not being disrespectful. You're reclaiming your dignity. And my son reclaimed his dignity in a beautiful, beautiful way. It made me so proud of him. It made me so happy that he found his voice. He told his father, I am unlearning everything I learned from you. So let's talk about Darvo, because this conversation became a topic because his father called and said, your mom is there I go with the neck again. I'm sorry. Your mom is dragging my name in the mud and you're taking her side. So again, it's about him and what's being done to him, and he's attacking his youngest son. And he spoke up. He said, I will not be disrespected. You can't talk to me like that anymore. And when his father would laugh and at something that his son was trying to express, his being vulnerable and expressing his feelings, my son said, your laughs will not dismiss me anymore. So even though my son kept showing up for his dad, and our kids will do that, I don't tell my son, hate your dad. I don't tell my son, your dad is so bad. You should never. No, that's his relationship. Let him have his relationship. Let him come to the truth of his relationship with his dad on his own. Okay. Thank you for your comment. Years ago, there wasn't a lot of information about narcissism. You're absolutely right. So many people were on survival mode. You are absolutely right. Thank you for saying that. And thank you for the other comment. You think you're protecting your kids, but you're really protecting yourself. It's a cold, hard truth that we have to allow ourselves to accept. And we don't have to be in survival mode any longer. Any longer. We do not have to be in survival mode. So my son's father did what narcissists do. He made it all about himself. He deflected accountability and he cried victim. And this very conversation is what led me to create my program called Darvo versus Peace. Darvo versus Peace is coming soon on my website. I'm putting my heart and soul into it because it's my and my children's lived experience. So if you're not familiar with Darvo, you will learn everything you need to know about how narcissists manipulate us, how they manipulate the children, and anyone else. Darvo stands for deny. The narcissist will first deny. What are you talking about? What is wrong with you? That's the look we would get. What is wrong with you? And that's what we would hear. And then attack. Well, what about you? What about you? You did this and you did that. That's deflection. That's the attack. And then reverse, victim, offender. All I did for you, and literally his dad's words to him were, I provided you a great childhood. You had a roof over your head. And my son was like, thanks, Dad, for the roof. Thanks for the roof. But what I didn't get was A, B, C, and D. And what I needed was A, B, C, and D. And that's the voice that we want to give our kids. And I know if my ex sees this, he's going to smear campaign and everything else is likely. But it's because I'm exposing the truth. And it's not about him. Sorry. It's about me and it's about my children. It's about you and it's about your children. They will try to make us think it's about them. We're doing this to them. No, no. Don't let them darvo you. Don't fall for the manipulation tactic. They're doing it to us. If you're in a relationship or co-parenting, it's happening every day, every conversation, every interaction is their attempt to regain control through this manipulation tactic. And the best way to protect yourself is to not engage. I want to shout out to the clients that I work with who are doing the work. They are doing the work. If you're here, if you hear my voice, you are doing the work. And it is not easy, and I know it. And that's why I'm so thankful to be in a position to be able to support you, because I've been there and I know how hard it is, because we've been fighting for years to be heard, to be validated, to be respected. And instead we get the flipping of the script. And now we're apologizing because we made them upset. We made them feel bad. We hurt their feelings. What about our feelings? What about our pain? What about our needs? We've been stuffing, stuffing, stuffing. I literally had to tell a client today, I know I done got off track. It was about the kids tonight, but guess what? It's about us too, okay? I told a client today that there's a lot that we give up in a relationship with a narcissist. And one of the biggest things that I gave up is needing respect. I gave up needing or expecting respect. That's rough. So if I'm willing to give that up, what am I positioning my children to give up? Their voice, because don't talk back to your father, coming from the narcissistic father. Who do you think you're talking to? Complete running the house through intimidation, complete intimidation, living in fear. And I don't mean, oh God, daddy, no. I don't mean that. This comes in many different forms, you guys. And of course, there is some of that, but please hear me when I say there are many different forms of intimidation living with a narcissist, all different kinds of forms that we don't have time to get into tonight. Here's the short story. Even when you try to shield your children, they still breathe the air inside that house. We think we're being the buffer, but silence becomes a blueprint for dysfunction. If I'm learning how to suppress, what are my kids doing? If I'm learning how to not expect to be respected, what are my kids doing? My son said to his father, "This is probably the last conversation I'll ever have with you." And that's a weight no child should carry, especially a weight no child should have to even say, to get off their chest. That hurts to even say it out loud. It almost feels wrong to say it out loud, but I'm pushing through that because I have a voice. My son has a voice, and he spoke his truth, and I stand behind him 1000%. He set the biggest, hardest boundary of all. If you're not willing to take accountability, this will have to be the last conversation we have. My son wanted one thing, and that was empathy. And these are my son's words. He said, "I just wanted him to say, I hear you. I was wrong." But narcissists don't give closure. They spin it until you feel like you're the problem. And my son stopped the walls from spinning and closing in on him. And he said, "Quapsh, quapsh. No, no." So, in closing, everybody, I stayed for 30 years. I stayed for the kids, and the impact was still there. But watching my son speak his truth, that is what healing looks like. And as much as it hurt my heart, my healing was showing in his ability to use his voice. And therefore, he is healing. So, by us freeing ourselves, thank you for that comment. He wanted respect too, just as much as I did. We were starving for respect and to be treated equally. at least with the respect that we deserved. So listen, you did not fail your child. You were surviving. And now healing means making space for them to reclaim their own truth, even if it hurts. And it hurts. It hurts so much. You are so welcome. Thank you for being here. I will continue to expose narcissism, narcissistic abuse, the impact on us, what our healing journey looks like, not just for us, but for our kids, for our family. It's okay. You can't erase the past, but you can validate your kids' experience now. You can't undo the pain, but you can model accountability, softness, and truth and transparency. Oh, thank you for saying that, Queen. My healing makes space for my babies. I love that. And that's how I feel. My healing makes space for my babies. So just know, leaving a narcissist is not just for you, it's for the kids. Staying is not for the kids, that's for you. That's for you. That's because of the fear you can't face. That was the fear I couldn't face, being divorced. I don't want to be called divorced. Not to mention being conditioned that this is not acceptable. We don't do divorce. We're not going to be a statistic. Well, sorry, Charlie. Not his real name. I'm thankful. So if this hits home for you, talk to your kids. Can your kids heal from what they saw? Yes. Yes, give them space. Your healing gives them space to heal. Allow their voice to be heard. Allow them to be seen for who they are. Don't make them play basketball for 20 years only for them to despise basketball and never touch it again. You've ruined so much. Let them be who they are, but we need to provide the safety for them to do that. And I'm so thankful that I have been able to do that today. And after this session, I am ready now to take that next step and post my interviews with them on my YouTube channel. So Passage to Peace YouTube channel, that's where all of my interviews are. I've interviewed my sister, I've interviewed my mother, I've interviewed my aunt, and I'm now ready to post my interviews of the boys. They've given me permission, and now I see I've kind of still been protecting them. Let me give them a voice. Let me give them a voice. Give your kids the voice in whatever way is appropriate for you and for them. This just happens to be my platform. This is just what I do. My mission in life. I'm devoting my entire life to helping others heal from narcissistic abuse. So you can go to my website, thepassagetopeace.com. You can take a free quiz to find out what stage of healing you're in. I created the 5 stages of healing based on my experience. And I know that what I went through is only going to be a helpful resource for you. I've created a 7-week program to walk you through each stage. The journey is not linear. Please know, ups and downs, but I'm also doing one-on-one coaching as a narcissistic recovery coach. I want to help you. You're welcome, Queen. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm so happy that this conversation, this topic is resonating with you. And for anyone else, this is what healing looks like. So check out my YouTube channel. I started a Facebook group, The Passage to Peace, Narcissistic Abuse Healing, on Facebook. You can find me there. So please, if you're looking at this live, I'm so happy that you're here. But if you're seeing this, thank you, Jennifer. So glad you're here. Thank you for putting up the YouTube. If you check the chats, you guys, the YouTube link is there. You'll find all of my content and interviews there. And I will be putting up those interviews and giving my boys a space and a place for their voice to be heard. And that makes me happy. So don't stay for the children, leave for the children. Remember, you're staying for yourself. And that's understandable too. It's how we survive. So thank you all so much for being here. Please, if you're seeing this as a replay, drop peace in my DMs and you will get a beautiful recap guide with this information. beautiful recap guide so you won't miss a thing. But please feel free to watch this again. Share it with others who might want to know, are we really protecting our kids? Do we need to get honest with ourselves? And I'm boldly saying yes. Boldly saying yes. So take that step. Thank you all so much for being here. I greatly appreciate your time. Be well, and I hope to see you in the healing room next Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care. Good night. Thank you for being here.